At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive, expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the beginning of the chase for the FloridaSkinDoctor.com BTDY Racing Series. Tonight, these drivers will take on Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile, to kick off this chase for the championship here in the KHIO 150 at Dover. It is going to be a good one here tonight. Perfect racetrack to get everything kicked off for this 8-race chase for the championship. And we are going to be bringing you all the action live right here on VSPEED. Thank you for tuning in, spending your Tuesday evening with us. My name's Daniel Cunningham, joined up here in the broadcast booth by Adam Baker. He's also running the production truck here this evening. And as always, those camera angles courtesy of Dougie Beard. Adam, we are shaping up for a heavyweight bout here as we go through these 8 races to crown a champion. Got a lot of really good drivers, 12 that are still eligible for that championship. What are you looking forward to most as we get this kicked off here this evening?
Yeah, this is an awesome track to get things started at. I know there's a couple of chase drivers right up there in the top 3 in points where they really specialize at this concrete mile oval. This is a really challenging, speedway for these guys in these next gen cars with the banking, the really, steep transitions getting down into the corners. Going to really test all of their skills and capabilities on a nice long run as well. We have a pretty small field, so I'd expect to see some green flag racing tonight. So You're really going to test every different skill set you've got coming into a track like Dover. And yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, same here. This is a great track to start off with. I mean, you've got the high horsepower, low downforce package. Thinking back to Rockingham, we talked about how these cars don't like bumps. It's a very bumpy track out there tonight as well. Adam Cabot starts off with a 19-point lead entering tonight's event by way of bonus points for the point reset here over Bailey Turner. And then he's got 25 points on pretty much everybody else after that. He's got 22 points rather on Seth Hatchell and Braxton DeWeese, and 25 on the rest of the field. We are going to keep an eye on the non-chase drivers, though, for that battle for best of the rest, currently led by Jake Mockey, Alan Dice only 4 points back, and Eric Hutton in that hunt as well to be the top point getter here for the entirety of the season that does not make that chase. So a few different storylines to keep an eye on. And again, I can't think of a better track to kick off than here at Dover. You touched on it, the Monster Mile, 24 degrees of banking in the turns. It does have that 9 degrees on the straightaways as well. Little bit of an abrasive track here. Should see a little bit of tire wear, tire fall off throughout the course of the run. And, one thing that I'm speaking from experience on here at Dover, these starts and restarts will be treacherous here, especially with the extra horsepower. Wouldn't be surprised to see quite a bit of tire spin as we go through the race tonight. 150 laps on the board, 70 to 75 laps expected fuel window. May be able to go just a little bit longer, probably stretch it to 80 if they really need to. Have 6 tire sets available, and as always, those 3 green-white checker attempts should we need them here at the end of this one with that 80% fuel. But Adam, these drivers have their qualifying runs finished up. It is time to give you your starting lineup for tonight's KHIO 150 here at Dover. And kicking off the chase in style, Angelo Ronis is going to be your pole sitter here this evening. Really fast lap out of him starting in P1. 2 is outside. Last week's winner finally broke through and got the victory lane. Seth Hatchell going to be starting in second here this evening. Braxton DeWeese will roll off in third. Bailey Turner to his outside in fourth. 2 more of those chase drivers that have been really strong throughout the entirety of the season. James Loveland will roll off in P5 here this evening. To his outside will be Ray Massey in the 6th position. Chris Samard will be starting in 7th here this evening. Dallas Sullivan in the Tide Ride rolling off in P8. Rounding out your top 10 here be Dennis Faircloth in the 9th position and Michael Jones in 10th.
Going off from 11th here this evening, it's going to be Cody Maurer. Adam Cabot, your points leader, not getting a lap time in. He'll roll off from the 12th position here tonight. This is a track that he specializes at. Expect him to make his charge towards the front early on in the race. Rob Liedl going to roll off from 13th here tonight. 14th going to be Cody Adkins. 15th will be Zach Smith. Paul Hahn going to roll off from the 16th position here tonight. And rounding out our field tonight of 17 drivers, it's going to be Jake Miller, that 52 machine, in the final row.
Yeah, really surprising to see Adam Cabot not get a lap time in. Not sure if maybe he had some kind of connection issue or maybe a little bit of contact with the wall that invalidated his lap time. I know we've seen some drivers throughout practice getting a little tight on corner exit or even sometimes getting a little loose on corner exit, chasing it up to the wall. So it'd be fun watching him fight his way through the field. Quick look at the track conditions for today. 75-degree air temp and 95 degrees for the track temp. So I've definitely seen it warmer here at Dover, but still not a cool track out there by any stretch. It's going to be contributing to the grip levels and the tire wear as well. But just one pace lap here this evening. Pace lights already off on that iRacing pace car. We are getting ready to turn these drivers loose for 150 laps to kick off the chase for the championship. Green flag already out in the air. We are underway at Dover, and already a checkup on the outside lane. Seth Hatchell with big tire spin on the initial start. Just like we mentioned in the pre-race show, Bailey Turner, it looks like, got a pretty substantial amount of damage on the front of that car as well. Early problems here for 2 of our championship contenders.
Wow, yeah, definitely not what they wanted to start their chases off with. Let's take a look at the start. You see Seth Hatchell on the outside line. Just tire spin there, maybe a little checkup, and then contact from the 24, and they both get pretty significant contact with the outside wall. You can see right front damage to Bailey Turner's machine as well as Seth Hatchell. They're both still rolling. I believe there might be some type of, meatball flag on the 24. Actually, it looks like maybe not. It might have been a restart issue because of that checkup. And at the front, Braxton DeWeese going to the outside of Angelo Ronis.
Yeah, the 00 of DeWeese already on the move here, trying to take that lead away. And just to touch on that black flag that you mentioned, it was a passing before the line for the 24. The admins of the series did clear that, since it wasn't by any fault of Bailey Turner for that incident. But still, he's going to be behind the 8 ball here with that damage. And I mean, the restart zone is just in such a weird place here. It's right at the exit of the turn. It's not fully on the straightaway. And then when you're in that outside lane with the banking that you've got, this extra horsepower that they have at Dover, it is so easy to spin those rear tires when you try to get going.
Yeah, so easy to do that. This is always a tough track to restart, similar to Bristol and some of these other ones where there's definitely a preferred groove. Driver who took advantage on that chaos, though, is Adam Cabot, already up 5 positions in the first 5 laps. And his next target, Dennis Faircloth, Seth Hatchell right there in front of him, still trying to get back a couple of those spots that he lost. And you can see heavy right front contact to that race car, and amazing that not more than the 24 and the 8 were involved in that.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a lot worse, but still, it's going to be affecting the handling of these cars. As you can see, the 17 of Adam Cabot trying to take 6th away from Dennis Faircloth here. Looking to the inside, looks like he will be able to get clear and move up another spot. And, Adam, something that I'm noticing early on here, just listening to these cars going around the track, you can hear them bottoming out. I don't know if it's coming through on the broadcast or not, but you can actually hear them in the sim bottoming out as they go through these turns. Well, right along here with Ray Massey, it seems like it's a little bit more pronounced even on the corner exit, especially over here in turn 3. There's a massive bump right there as they go right underneath of that bridge. And these cars have an extremely stiff suspension on them. There's not a lot of travel, not a lot of give to it. And yeah, these things look like they're about like pogo sticks going through the turns here.
Yeah, and you can see the front end damage there on Ray Massey as Adam Cabot has gotten around Seth Hatchell. Hatchell now in danger of losing another position as Dennis Faircloth having a good start to this race. Right on the back bumper, loses a couple of car lengths there off of turn number 4. But yeah, not a great start for multiple chasers. Bailey Turner, you can see he is definitely affected by that damage. Cody Maurer all over his back bumper, and there's a real traffic jam behind the 24 machine.
Yeah, and even visually, the damage doesn't look as bad to Bailey Turner's car. It looks pretty good overall. The damage looks worse on Seth Hatchell's machine, but it seems like the aero damage is a little bit worse on that 24, struggling more so with the handling. So we ride on board here with Rob Liedl in the 80 car, taking a look at the back of Cody Maurer. Liedl doing a nice job wrapping the bottom here, just trying to keep the car from doing exactly what Mauer's just did. He got into the wall on corner exit. So easy to do if you get into that throttle just a little bit too early. The turns here are just, they're kind of deceptive. You feel like you can get onto the throttle a lot sooner than you can. And once you commit to it, and by the time you realize you got into it too early, it is too late to lift. You're already committed into basically smacking the wall at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Is Adam Cabot and Bailey Turner?
I did not see what happened to Cabot. The yellow flag is out here at Dover. The teammates, 2 of the championship favorites, with more trouble here.
Wow, the 2 top drivers in points. It was Cabot going down into turn 1. Looked like he had some type of problem. Oh
That
man.
looks like a hardware malfunction if I've ever seen one. I know he had some kind of hardware issue a couple races ago, I believe it was, right before our chase started. And I believe that was at Martinsville, if I'm not mistaken, that he had some kind of steering wheel disconnect issue or something to that
Yeah.
effect. And I actually heard Bailey Turner mic up on comms. Of course, those two are teammates. And I heard him try to give a warning like, hey, something's going on. So it sounds like maybe Adam Cabot was trying to communicate with his teammate to say, hey, I'm losing control here. I've got nothing that I can do. And unfortunately, out of all of that, the one driver that gets caught up in it with him is his own teammate who just had absolutely nowhere to go. And both of those drivers showing a meatball flag now. So that is essentially going to be a night ender for both of those two. And I did not have that one on my bingo card here to start the playoffs. Two of our strongest contenders throughout the season getting caught up here early on. But it's going to open pit lane here for the entirety of the field. Looks like everybody making their way down pit road. Going to take this early caution to go ahead and get some fresh tires, top off with fuel. They can definitely make it a one-stop race from here. See how this race off of pit road plays out. It looks like Braxton DeWeese will be able to maintain that lead, and I believe James Loveland was able to get Angelo Ronas maybe. Actually, I think the timing line is right before that that final line that they cross for the pit speed. So it's like DeWeese will be in the race lead once Bailey Turner comes down pit lane. It'll be Angelo Ronas, James Loveland, Chris Samard, and now Dennis Faircloth, your top five. As it looks like maybe Bailey Turner decided to stay out and lead a lap there, knowing that his night was over, at least. Well, no, I take that back. It did not give him credit for a lap led. So maybe just trying to stay out of the way and hit pit lane when it's vacated.
Yeah, maybe trying to maximize his time on pit lane before going a lap down is, maybe the call there. If you pit from the lead, but they're getting the one to go this time, so I'm not sure that that's going to work out for him. But definitely going to be a huge hit to both of these drivers. They've got a little bit of a margin over the rest of the chase field. At least Adam Cabot did. Bailey Turner was only 6 points up on the majority of the chase drivers. Braxton DeWeese in a good spot to capitalize here. Seth Hatchell with his early problems stayed on pit road for an extended amount of time getting his damage repaired. Ray Massey as well. So a bunch of chase drivers with early problems, opening the door maybe for drivers like Angelo Ronas, Braxton DeWeese, Chris Samard, James Loveland to really capitalize and have a shot at a championship here this season.
Yeah, absolutely. An interesting choice here. Braxton DeWeese, your race leader, electing to take the high lane on this restart. We saw that tire spin on the initial start. Seems like it is a little bit worse at times up in that top groove. So we'll see how he manages that as the control car, the iRacing pace car, pulls off and they get ready to hit that restart zone. Mindful of the tire spin as green flag back out in the air, back underway here on lap number 16. They're already wrecking. That was the 91 of Zach Smith. The 52 of Jake Miller gets caught up in that as well. Rest of the field gets away relatively cleanly, but it looks like Zach Smith with some pretty big damage there. Michael Jones with a black flag for passing before the line there, as well as a result that the admins will clear. But let's take a quick look at this one. Again, that top groove on the restarts proving treacherous. Oh, as Rob Liedl got into the wall there as well.
Yeah,
I didn't even see that
at first. That was the first car that I saw get in the wall, and then big hit for Zach Smith. He came all the way from the bottom lane up. Seth Hatchell having to navigate through all of that as well. That is the danger of being at the back of the field. Some things like that can happen. As, the Zach Smith will pull it in. Braxton DeWeese taking over the top spot now with 4 or 5 car lengths in hand. Angelo Ronas, your pole sitter, right here in that second spot. James Loveland, Chris Samard, Dennis Faircloth, your top 5. And this field getting smaller and smaller on every restart.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that has also allowed a driver like Cody Atkins an opportunity to try to get a good finish out of this as well. He's now up into the 6th position. up 8 spots from where he initially started the race. Biggest mover of the night so far, and starting to get a little bit closer now to that 83 of Dennis Faircloth. Try to challenge for a top 5 position. And back behind them, you still got Rob Lidl running in 7th. Dallas Sullivan starting to close in on Lidl for that position. We saw that contact that Lidl had with the wall on the restart. You can see visually a little bit of damage there to the right front, so got to think that that will be hurting the handling of that 80 machine.
Yeah, you definitely don't want any aero damage at a track like this. Downforce is so important, especially in these Gen 7 cars. Every little bit, it's going to affect how you get down into the corner, how you get off of it, and then how your car's behaving behind another driver, as Cody Adkins had pulled right up to the back of Dennis Faircloth. Couldn't quite hang with him through those last couple of corners, but you can see here a couple different ways of approaching the turn. Adkins running much lower on the track. Dennis Faircloth running kind of that middle groove, but catches the wall on exit. Maybe pushed a little too wide on entry, a little too early back on the throttle. They'll both drift up here in the center, that kind of diamond path around the turn. And yeah, just a couple different ways of getting around it. Did hear that the top side tonight is potentially a viable option as the race goes on. But that is not traditionally the best way around this racetrack. You'll see them all pretty much diamond each end and maximize their speed getting off the corner.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if part of that is, we've kind of documented throughout this season with the next gen car, it doesn't really like a ton of steering input. And the more that you run that diamond, you've got to crank a lot of wheel into it on corner exit. And then when you have situations like what we just saw with Dennis Faircloth, where if the car kind of catches one of those bumps just the wrong way, you've got that wheel turned into it, it's going to try to loop around, and these cars are next to impossible to save because they just don't have that side force that you need. So that could potentially lead to that high lane more coming into play than what we're used to seeing in like an Xfinity or a car or a truck or something to that effect. It'll be interesting to see if that does end up being the case here this evening, as Cody Adkins right behind that 83 car gets a really good run. Saw him kind of do even a more exaggerated diamond line there. Went up about a lane and a half, turns down on exit, gets a really good run.
Really tight on exit
just there. About smacks the wall off of turn 4. I think Dennis Faircloth might have lifted and cut him a little break right there, and both drivers able to continue on.
Looking back at Seth Hatchell, comes in 3rd in points, tied with Braxton DeWeese. He's up into the top 10, getting around Ray Massey. Both those drivers collecting damage on the start of the race, but both of them seem to have gotten it punched out for the most part. And hanging out in 10th and 11th, respectively. Cody Maurer behind them. Jake Miller, he's a bit off the pace. He's got some damage after getting into the back of Zach Smith. Back here, 13th. Paul Hahn is your last driver on the track right now, as Zach Smith is still sitting on pit road. Bailey Turner, Adam Cabot off and in the garage for the moment. And we'll see if Bailey Turner or Cabot are able to get back on and complete a few more circuits, maybe grab another point before it's all said and done. But right now, not looking so good for their first race.
Yeah, and especially Adam Cabot. I believe Bailey Turner has already disconnected from the session, but Adam Cabot, I don't think he has to this point. And right now, Zach Smith and Bailey Turner are also off the track. Few laps ahead of him. He's 3 laps behind Bailey and 5 laps behind Zach Smith. So if he can get back out there, turn a few laps, it'll at least help him salvage a little bit more out of the night. But definitely not the start to the chase that he was looking for. As Seth Hatchell continues his rally from the back of the pack, now up into the 9th position. And, we had kind of talked about throughout the course of the season, Seth had just had a lot of these kind of grinded out nights where it maybe wasn't quite the fastest car, but sticks with it, gets himself at least a podium finish out of it. And tonight, a little bit different type of grind with having that early damage, having to work his way from the back. But when 2 of your main competitors on the season run into the problems that they have with Cabot and Turner, you just got to stick with it, try to maximize this and take advantage as much as you can.
Yeah, the way that they're running right now, Braxton DeWeese would close that gap almost entirely to Adam Cabot. The difference about 16 points. where they're running at the moment. I mean, Cabot is last and DeWeese is first. This would be maximizing if he can go out here, also lead the most laps, and get every possible bonus point that he can. This is a really good start to his night up here, leading so far 31 of the first 33. And Angelo Ronas behind him. This is pretty much what he needs to do as well, get as many points as he possibly can. Chris Samard, James Loveland, Cody Atkins, your top 5. All of those drivers, Dennis Faircloth included, right? These are all Chase drivers, and they are making up the majority of the top 10. Seeing an opportunity to at least have those guys who have dominated this season within arm's reach.
One right there. Even though Braxton DeWeese has about a half a second lead over Angelo Ronas, you can tell just how on edge these cars are. He's still having to really drive it, and we saw it on the exit of turn 4 that last time around. Very slight contact with the wall, but then off of turn 2, he didn't really go all the way out to the wall as he had been, and lost just about a tenth of a second to Angelo Ronas that lap. So, there's no such thing as just a comfortable lead here. You've still got to drive the car. It's still going to challenge you every single lap. This is not a comparison that I would have had on my bingo card coming into the night, but it almost kind of puts me in the mind of some other cars at Darlington, where you've really got to be mindful of what you're doing, hit your marks every lap. You can't just put it on autopilot. And right now, Angelo Ronas starting to close back in on that 0-0 and try to take this lead back away. But right now, he's in that kind of bubble zone where you start to get a lot of the dirty air from the car in front of you. You can see Ronas moving up the track, trying to search around, keep some clean air on the front of that 22 machine. He's doing a nice job managing it and still able to close in a little bit here on that 0-0.
Yeah, you could hear the car get a little bit light on the exit of turn number 4 as he was really pushing hard there, and costs him a lot down getting into the corner. The exit is not as much of a problem with the where he's running compared to the 0-0, but getting into the turn, there's not a whole...
Oh, he kissed the wall off before there as well.
Yeah. It comes up
just
on you quick here at Dover, that's for sure.
It really does, and especially if he's crossing the wake coming off of that 0-0 car, he catches that just the wrong way. He's going to lose all front end grip and have to try to pedal it on corner exit. So something we'll see if he can close back in, as saw Seth Hatchell there takes the 8th place away from Rob Liedl. To set his sights on Dallas Sullivan and Dennis Faircloth. These two have been kind of glued to one another the last handful of laps. Dennis Faircloth doing a nice job hanging on to that position for now. Dallas Sullivan trying to close in, but again, just talking about the aero, the dirty air. Seems like once Sullivan gets within about 2 to 3 tenths, just starts to struggle with grip, and it's difficult to find a way around.
Yeah, it seems like he's got a lot of speed at the exit of the corner there. You can see Dennis kind of doing a late diamond, and then Dallas, drifting up the hill a little bit earlier, and he's getting out of the wake in the center, cutting low. You can see it right here, cuts low, gets that air back on the nose, gets right to the back bumper, but then crosses back into it. And here is Seth Hatchell just closing right up to these two. He gets loose on entry there. That was that looked really unusual, but trying to slow that car up early and get out of their air, running a little lower. This is a track he's won at multiple times in this series, and just trying to get every position, every advantage he can, as Ray Massey also completing a pass now on Rob Liedl, moving up to the ninth spot. So this is important for him to get everything he can there.
Yeah, Ray Massey trying to maximize his point stay as well. Rob Liedl still doing a nice job hanging on to a top 10 spot as they currently run. Taking a look again at this battle between these three drivers for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Seth Hatchell now right up on the back bumper of Dallas Sullivan. Sullivan using that line you talked a little bit about earlier, Adam, going all the way up to the top, but doesn't look like that is where the speed is as of yet. Opens the door for Seth Hatchell, who goes to the bottom, is able to clear Sullivan for the 7th position, and will now set his sights on Dennis Faircloth to try to get up to 6th. And you know, they may have gotten all the damage fixed on that 8 machine, but still being able to work his way up through the field, able to manage this dirty air that we've been talking about, it's really an impressive recovery drive for Seth Hatchell so far.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for him. He was one of the fastest, both he and the 83 of Dennis Fairclough kiss it off of the turn 4 wall. Pretty much everybody's hitting that every other lap. Just a little bit of contact. These, you know, composite bodies doesn't really affect them all that much, but he's already got a little bit of right front damage. Does not want to hurt that anymore, but he's making gains. You can see really running a wide arc through the center of the corner, and that is paying dividends on exit as he's now 1 car length behind the 83. Up a bit further, James Loveland, Chris Samard, Angelo Ronas, those 3 pretty tight together, battling 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then Cody Adkins kind of all by his lonesome there a little ways back.
Well, and I think the impressive thing right now, just looking at the lap times for Seth Hatchell, we'll see what it is this time around.
There, though.
Yeah, he definitely got into the wall there, but he had been running lap times and still is running lap times that are faster than race leader Braxton DeWeese and even faster than Angelo Ronas in 2nd as well. So, I mean, he's 5 seconds back. If he can clear Dennis Fairclough here, which he's now looking to the outside, we'll see if he does this crossover, gets a good run on exit. Fairclough gets into the wall a little bit there ahead of him. If he can get clear of Dennis Fairclough, he's got some clear racetrack up to Cody Atkins. He's not out of this thing. I think he would still probably need a caution to kind of bunch everybody back up together, but it is certainly still not out of the realm of possibility for even a race win here this evening. It's a little bit further up the pack. Chris Samard making a move on Angelo Rodas, who's in a bit of a free fall right now. James Loveland has gotten by for the 2nd position. Samard now up into 3rd. So a couple of changes there in the top 4. Seth Hatchell now looks like finally able to get clear of Dennis Fairclough. Slots up in front of him just a little bit, but able to complete the pass. And now just about 2.5 seconds back of Cody Atkins for the next position. So these will be some important laps for Seth. He's finally got a little bit of clean air as Rob Liedl is sideways at the pit entry. This is something we haven't talked about, is how difficult this pit road is to get onto, but I wouldn't think it would be a scheduled stop yet. It looks like it was indeed a scheduled stop. He was pulling down to make his way onto the pit lane. Back end of the car just loops around on him.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he made any contact with anything, so lives to race on, but going to be a lot of lost time. Already 1 lap down, and the leader is going to be working off of turn 4 and going to put him a 2nd lap down. So already had some damage, was kind of losing positions, fell out of the top 10 there, and now just kind of adding insult to injury with the issue getting on the pit road. Definitely an early stop, like you said. These guys can go on 1 stop to the end of this race from the last time they came in. So not exactly sure what was going on there. Is battle between teammates for 2nd.
A good battle going on here. Chris Samard looking to the inside. He's really starting to show a lot of speed here as this run progresses. Both of these drivers are slowly starting to catch Braxton DeWeese just a bit here. DeWeese maybe just kind of managing the gap a little bit as well, but James Loveland wrapping that bottom. You can see the 77 of Samard running a little bit more of that diamond like you had talked about, trying to find some clean air. Loveland now moving up the track as well. Able to pull the gap just a little bit over Chris Samard as we ride on board with him here. Again, that huge bump getting into turn number 3 as they go underneath of the bridge, proving to be troublesome, as it looks like Samard lost just a little bit of time going through that, but more than makes it up on the exit. He gave up about a 1/2 tenth on entry there, but gained almost 2 tenths back on the exit of the turn.
Yeah, he's really pushing the car on entry. This time you can see right through those bumps, goes way up the hill. Probably not exactly where he wanted to end up. Gonna have a nice straight shot off of the turn exit. Gets right to about a car length behind, back to the bumper of his teammate. And Chris, before they got to battling, was running some of the fastest times on the track. It was him and Seth Hatchell were the 2 fastest cars. And the last time by, right, he was the fastest car on the racetrack. So this 77 got some good speed here in the opening race of the chase. as he's going to try and get a pass done on the teammate now across the start-finish line, gets to the left rear quarter panel, and we'll see how hard they battle.
This has probably been the best opportunity that Samard has had so far. Maybe a little bit of teamwork there between the teammates. James Loveland kind of seeing the writing on the wall, doesn't want to hold his teammate up any more than he needs to. Gives him a little bit of space there, and that is going to put the 77 of Chris Samard into P2. Now I'm interested to see, was DeWeese kind of just managing the gap, saving his tires a little bit, or does he have a little bit of grip loss here? Because Samard was definitely tracking them down. We'll see how DeWeese responds now that he's got a new challenger in that second position. And the drivers are 40 laps in, a little over 40 laps in on this set of tires. So got to think that the tire wear, tire degradation starting to come into play for these drivers.
Yeah, you can visually see that 77 machine closing the gap. It's now just about a quarter of a second. He is flying, running that wide diamond, groove there. And this time again, down the front straightaway, able to close it up another half-tenth. And he's pushing wider and wider every lap. Got to be careful not to get up into the marbles up at the top of the racetrack and lose all of that grip. But so far, so good for him, really maximizing what he can. Right here, now that he's got the 00 right out in front. And yeah, Braxton maybe losing the handle here about 50 laps into the run.
Yeah, maybe losing just a little bit of grip on that 00 machine. The lap times have not fallen off a ton time-wise, only about 7 to 8 tenths of a second off of their fastest laps. But the grip could definitely be coming into play here as Chris Samard is now within a tenth of a second. He gets into the wall just a little bit on corner exit. I think both he and James Loveland both tagged the wall a little bit there on the exit of 4. Maybe a little arrow push out of the 77, but he is right back on it, closing in, looking to the inside in turn 3. It's not quite close enough to get alongside the 00, but that is the closest really that he's been as far as being able to pull alongside.
Meanwhile, back in 5th, Seth Hatchell has completed the pass on Cody Adkins, so move him back into the top 5. Adkins back to 6th. Seth still running the fastest laps on the track now that the leaders have gotten to battling a little bit more. So he's closed the margin from about 5 seconds to 4.5. If he can continue to gain about a half-tenth or a tenth a lap, that's going to really help him before they get to the pit cycle.
And here goes Samard to the inside, looking for the race lead on the 00. Braxton DeWeese, I don't think he's going to be quite close enough, and these two drivers are coming up on lap traffic here. The 52 of Jake Miller goes down to the apron, gets out of the way. Now they're trying to put Cody Maurer a lap down, and this battle has also allowed Loveland in the 02 to close in as well, as Maurer, a little bit of a pick there on the 77, gets out of the way, lets him go back after it, but that gives Braxton DeWeese just a bit of a reprieve here, allows him to get that lead back out to about a half a second.
Yeah, this is a track kind of like Darlington. If you catch a lap car in the absolute worst spot like Chris Samard just did, it is going to cost you quite a bit of time. I think at the stripe here, he's equalized it again, but he had lost about 2 tenths just from that kind of misfortune of catching the 18 in the wrong spot as they put him a lap down. But trying to recover now, close the gap back up a little bit more, and Loveland really closed up on the two of them when they were tight side by side off of turn 2. He was able to really keep his momentum and close that gap in half. Angelo Ronis back here in that 4th position, 2 seconds back, just kind of maintaining pace with those top 3. Seth Hatchell continuing to chop off about a tenth of a second per lap. He's now to 3.4 seconds behind these leaders.
Yeah, he has cut almost 2 seconds to the gap to the leader over about the last 20 laps or so. And it's a little bit under 2 seconds that he's actually cut off of that. But, you know I said earlier, I think he needs a caution to be able to get caught back up, to bunch things up and try to go after this lead. I'm not so sure of that now. He might still have a shot even if this runs green to the end, especially if these leaders keep doing what they're doing right now. Chris Samard taking another look to the inside. He's still got a fender alongside Braxton DeWeese. Going to look on the bottom. DeWeese should have the run on corner exit here. Samard noses ahead just a little bit. They're side by side down the back straightaway. Samard going to try to drive it in on the bottom, but DeWeese able to defend up top.
Oh, almost contact.
Almost contact. Maybe there was
Oh.
contact. The 0-0 hard into the outside wall. More contact with Loveland. All three of them getting together.
I think this is just the realization that all these guys are fighting for as many points as they can possibly get with the top two in the championship out of the race. This is huge if they can get up there and get the first win here at Dover. And Chris Samard has been really good on corner exit. You can see able to just cut it down the hill. And Braxton DeWeese really struggling with drive off right now as this run has gone on. But he's in the advantageous position of holding on to the top side, but just not able to get very good drive off turn two. He's really struggling. And Chris Samard has been so good there, but just so hard to complete a pass.
One thing that is universal at Dover, no matter the car, is you can play some pretty good defense on that outside lane, but Braxton DeWeese has got to have some pretty substantial damage after that hit to the wall. It was a really hard hit directly to the right front. Chris Samard now going to try to go around the outside. I think he knows that's the way to make the pass. A door bang down the back straightaway. They're still side by side. DeWeese drives it in on the bottom, but I think this is the opportunity Samard has been looking for. He's got the momentum, finally clears through for the lead. New race leader, the 77 of Chris Samard. Now with James Loveland and Angelo Ronis have closed in on this 0-0 of DeWeese, and they are going to try to take advantage and get that position as well. I think without the benefit of that clean air now, we may see the 0-0 drop back just a bit with that damage on the car. Oh, is Loveland with a huge hit to the wall.
Yeah, man, it's about every 5 laps somebody hits that wall off turn 4 that hard, and Loveland, the victim that time of just overdriving it a little bit, able to complete the pass on the 0-0, but Angelo Ronis, all of this has brought him back into the fold, and Seth Hatchell is now just 2 seconds behind Chris Samard, though I think that's going to probably level out. These two have been pretty equal in terms of lap time, and Seth stuck behind quite a few other drivers, so this will start to hurt his laps. Angelo Ronis now looking to the inside of the 0-0, able to complete the pass, nearly loses it though, getting back on the throttle, and Braxton able to power around the outside.
Yeah, and you mentioned Seth Hatchell dealing with a little bit of lap traffic here. That is Rob Liedl and Michael Jones. Both of those cars 3 laps down, so that is a battle for position between the two of them as well. And also a battle for the free pass should a caution come out. Michael Jones almost getting into Braxton DeWeese in the 0-0, drove it in pretty deep there and just about contact, but able to get it checked up in time. Now to the outside of Seth Hatchell. Seth trying to keep it pinned down on the bottom as Michael Jones gets into the 8 of Hatchell. He looked like he was trying to avoid the 0-0 of DeWeese after DeWeese got into the wall really hard there. But again, I mean, I know he's a playoff driver or chase driver. I know that he is fighting for position as well, but when you got somebody 3 laps down, you would like for them to show just a bit more space to guys that are battling up here in the podium positions.
Yeah, I think what's tough is Michael Jones is on those fresher tires. I mean, he's already brought it down pit lane at some point. Cody Adkins also, to note, just brought it down pit road, so he's getting service completed early on. We are seeing about a second of fall off from the fastest laps of the race, and all of that really did just cost Hatchell and Angelo Ronis a ton of time. They're now back to about 4 seconds behind Chris Samard. Loving what he's seeing with all that battling, and he is stretching his legs out here now, almost 2 seconds ahead of his teammate James Loveland.
And Braxton DeWeese electing to come down pit lane here as well. This will put the drivers in the window where they can squarely make it to the end. And it looks like Chris Samard going to go ahead and bring it down pit lane as well to cover off the 0-0 with the undercut. See James Loveland hitting pit road here also. So we'll see Seth Hatchell. It looks like he is electing to stay out for now, as is Angelo Ronis, maybe trying to get a bonus point for leading a lap. See if Ronis decides to bring it down here or Seth. Both of them staying out for now. Trying to run this just a little bit longer. Ray Massey, Dallas Sullivan, those yet to pit. And You know, these guys would love to see a caution right now. There are only 4 drivers on the lead lap. It would give them track position and it would give them a tire advantage over those staying out to take the wave around. But I think we're about to see Seth Hatchell hit pit lane here as well.
Oh, moment for Chris Samard getting off pit lane. He's going to lose it. Also, James Loveland got a black flag, so lots of things coming undone here through the pit cycle. Seth Hatchell brings it in. Angelo Ronas is going to remain on the racetrack, but yeah, disaster for the 02 and the 77 in that cycle, who were running 1-2 when that all got started. James Loveland still sitting in his box, should get rolling here pretty soon, but you can see Seth Hatchell is pulling into his pit box.
He overshoots it. He's going to have to back it up. So lost time here for the 8 of Hatchell as well. And I think he was too close to the pit wall. Has to back up even further and get it re-angled in the box.
He's got heavy right front damage. I'm not sure he didn't have a problem getting onto pit lane, or
he clipped the barrels. He did. Oh my gosh. Problems for another one of our race leaders. And that looks like massive damage. The right front not even making contact with the track there at one point.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll see how long he sits in his box. It doesn't show that he has a meatball flag on that car, but currently he is over 30 seconds in his pit box.
Angelo
Ronas now with problems. Wow, we have talked about this is a treacherous pit road to get onto. It's a treacherous pit road to get off of as well. And Angelo Ronas hits the wall. Now, Dallas Sullivan is getting ready to come down pit lane here as well. I got to watch this because we've already seen problems from just about everybody else trying to make their way down pit lane. Dallas Sullivan,
much more
nice, smooth entry. Yeah. That's all you need right here at this point, is everybody else is kind of stepping on it a little bit, either getting onto or off of pit lane.
And Angelo Ronas has a black flag. So
he does indeed. I would have to think that is speeding on entry. We saw the tires locked up. So this could very well fall right back into Braxton DeWeese' lap. He's been one of the dominant drivers of the race, probably the dominant driver. But, I mean, all of his main competition that he's had has run into problems. Seth Hatchell, Chris Samard, Angelo Ronas, all running into issues. I mean, James Loveland, literally the only driver out of the top 5 before the pit cycle that didn't have a major issue is the 00 of DeWeese.
And Dallas Sullivan just getting off pit road. He's going to end up falling, looks like, behind Dennis Faircloth, who pit just a little bit before, or rather after, the 00. And then, Dallas cycles into that 3rd position. Chris Samard going to end up about 7.5 seconds behind the 00, which is a long ways to make up here at Dover. I mean, he was definitely better than Braxton on the long run. It's going to remain to be seen if he can make up that kind of distance, though. I think that is going to be the closest competitor to Braxton DeWeese if we don't get another yellow flag or any cautions in the second half of the race. This is the 00's race to lose.
Yeah, and just to kind of housekeep on a couple of things here. So Seth Hatchell is still sitting on pit lane now in 14th position, 6 laps down to your race leader, and only 6 cars on the lead lap. As you can see there on the scoring pylon, Braxton DeWeese, Dennis Faircloth, Dallas Sullivan, Ray Massey, Chris Samard, and Cody Adkins, your top 6 on the lead lap. Michael Jones on a little bit of an alternate pit strategy here in that 7th position. He is probably going to have to pit one more time before this race is over. Paul Hahn, currently only 8 laps since his last pit. He should be good to go to the end. But then looking at Rob Liedl, Jake Miller in 9th and 10th, they are probably going to have to stop again, as will Cody Maurer in 11th. Actually, now Maurer in 12th. James Loveland up to the 11th position. So, I mean, that pit cycle just turned this entire race on its head. And I'm telling you, this is absolutely chaotic for what we've seen here. And also, just one more bit of housekeeping here. Looks like Seth Hatchell has actually disconnected from the session. So that damage, enough to end his night. And what started off as a looked like it might not be a good night for him, then kind of turned around for him, looked like he had a lot of promise to it, has gone south quickly. And a lot of our championship, not just contenders, but even say favorites running into issues here tonight.
Yeah, something I'm keeping an eye on while this is all developing as well is Dallas Sullivan has about a 7-lap tire advantage over Braxton DeWeese and Dennis Faircloth. He is closed up about a second and a half on both of those drivers. He's looking to try and get the second position away from Dennis Faircloth. So just you know, a little piece of strategy right there. Dallas, one of those drivers, he's really good at maximizing strategy. We've seen him win races here in BTDY off of strategy calls. Very famous one back at Charlotte in the Xfinity cars. He was able to, you know, not pit an extra time, end up winning that race on fuel mileage, but he's been legitimately a top 10, top 7 car here tonight and has good speed at this point in the run, though trying to get around the 46 costing, or the 83 costing a little bit of time. Chris Simard has made up about a second on Braxton DeWeese so far in this run, and he's got a bit of clean racetrack in front of him, so that's going to help as well. And Braxton DeWeese also pretty much nobody around him.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, to keep in mind, not only does Dallas Sullivan have that tire advantage, when he was in clean racetrack, he was running anywhere from about 3 to 4 tenths a lap faster than the 00 of DeWeese. And he also doesn't, at least to my knowledge, hasn't had any really big hits up against the wall like we've seen the 00. I mean, there's been a couple of them, as you can see, a couple other people doing exactly that off of turn 4 while I'm talking about it. But, I mean, there was a couple of hits that Braxton DeWeese had where, I mean, the right front tire was lifted up off the racing surface with how hard the hit was. We've still got a little over 50 laps to go here, and it's worth keeping an eye on as we get further into this run, as the tires start to age a little bit. Does any of that damage that the 00 may have accumulated over this race kind of come into play and allow Dallas Sullivan a chance to get up there just with a pure pace advantage?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, right now, running, you know, about a half of a tenth of a second per lap. That time catches the apron a little bit off turn number 4. I think that might hurt him. Yeah, this time a little bit slower than the 00. And I can tell he's just not pushing the car as far up the hill, maybe trying to preserve the tires a little bit in the early part of this run. And the 00 also kind of just doing that, running the middle line diamond through both ends of the racetrack. Chris Simard still about 7 seconds back. You can see a little wider entry that time for Braxton, and Dallas entering much closer to the bottom and drifting up now. He's starting to open up that diamond. So this could be where we start to see a little bit of time made up with that momentum down the straightaways.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they manage that, and if Sullivan is able to cut that gap down any as the run progresses. Battle for third, though, is pretty good one right now between Dennis Faircloth and Ray Massey going for that final podium position. Massey seems like he's got the speed advantage right now, but Faircloth doing a nice job playing some defense, utilizing a little bit of aero blocking, utilizing that high lane to kind of keep some momentum. Of course, as he goes to the bottom, here goes Massey looking up to the top, going to try to generate a run. Maybe try one of these crossover moves, almost contact to the wall for both of them. But here goes Massey to the inside, able to slide up in front of the 83. And I think maybe Dennis realized, okay, I've held him off for about as long as I can. It seems like he's got the faster car right now. Let you go and see if maybe this will come back to me on the back end of this run.
As Rob Liedl pulls it down pit road another time. He's already 2 laps down. This will just add to that by getting some fresh tires on. This will get him to the end of the race. I don't believe he was going to be able to make it. He had pit about 50 laps ago. We're also seeing Zach Smith still on the racetrack, or in pit lane, getting damage repaired. Seth Hatchell still off the track. Bailey Turner, Adam Cabot, none of them have tried to get back on, and I don't believe at this point they can really make up any positions other than Zach Smith if they do return to the track. So pretty much set where they're at in the running order, and it's not going to be a good points night for 3 of our 4 top drivers in the points.
Yeah, we are definitely going to have a lot to recap next week when we go over our points update and the points battle heading in to race number 2 of the chase. So something to keep an eye on is Chris Simard here trying to navigate through some of this lap traffic. Looks like he's still got some pretty decent speed in that 77 car. It's pretty well matching lap times with our top 3 right now. So he may still have a shot to get up there around Dennis Faircloth, but unless we do have a caution to bunch things back up, I don't think, unless he finds a substantial amount of pace in that car, I don't think he's going to be able to get back up into a podium position, as he's just kind of matching their lap times right now.
Yeah, I mean, where his advantage was about the last 20 laps of a run, and, you know, we're still a ways from that, as he's going to work his way around Michael Jones. And just to note, first car is off the lead lap. In case we do have anything come up, Michael Jones and Paul Hahn are not too far apart. Those guys battling for what would be the lucky dog position. Cody Adkins also right here in 6th. He's the last car on the lead lap, about 8.5 seconds behind Braxton DeWeese. So a really huge gap between 6th and 7th. It's about 22 seconds, and a lot of that from alternating pit strategies, pit road issues, and all kinds of things happening. I mean, James Loveland also 1 lap down. He is not too far from being in a lucky dog spot and still running in the top 10 along with Angelo Ronis. So a couple of those guys who really looked like they had potentially race-winning speed tonight after everything that happened with those pit road problems, setting themselves behind and really do need a yellow flag to even have a shot at a top 5 finish.
Yeah, definitely a few drivers hoping for a caution to kind of get things reset here. Braxton DeWeese is not one of them, still just a little over 3 seconds ahead of Dallas Sullivan. There has been a few laps here as of recent. This most recent lap, Sullivan was about 1/10.5 faster. A couple laps before that, he was about 0.3 faster. This lap by, looks like he may lose a little bit as he was navigating the lap car there of Cody Maurer in the 18. This might be the caution that they were looking for, but Maurer straightens it back out. I think that inside wall helped straighten the car back out a little bit there, but massive damage. He's trying to stay out of the way, but you can see right there that left front tire is about as useful as a screen door on a submarine right now. It ain't doing a whole lot of anything at the moment.
He may have a hard time getting into pit road, although it looks like he's gotten it to the apron. That was a massive impact and what would be a yellow flag if this was, you know, a real NASCAR race. But here in iRacing, not detecting you know, an actual accident, because he never came to a stop. He was never on the banking at a speed lower than about 100 miles an hour. So never threw the yellow flag. His battle for that 4th position. Chris Simard closing in now on Dennis Faircloth.
Yeah, this has been a good battle that's been brewing up here for the last couple of laps. Simard still with really good speed in that 77. Faircloth looks like maybe struggling with the handle a little bit as the run continues. These two are actually on even tires right now as well. They did pit on the same lap. Of course, Simard had the issue, as we documented, with exiting the pits, spinning and getting into that inside wall down on the apron of the racetrack, trying to fight his way back forward. But, I mean, you can see there on the front of the car, visually there is a little bit of damage, but it doesn't seem like it's too worse for wear, all things considered. Still turning some good lap times, but it seems like this is when it really starts to affect him. Once he gets into this dirty air bubble that these drivers will talk about, heard him talk about it throughout the season, that, you know, that's where he's really missing that extra front grip that he may have lost from that wall contact.
This is about the point of the run where we started to see him make some real gains on other drivers, and that is the case right here, as he gets a huge run off turn 4, just not quite enough to get alongside, but he's really opened up that diamond wide arc on entry, cuts it down the hill, and he's got really good drive off. This time off turn 2, not quite able to do that, but has been able to close the distance to Braxton DeWeese by about 1 second to 1.5 seconds. So continuing to, you know, chop that distance down, and both he and Dennis Faircloth are actually your fastest cars on the racetrack. So Dennis finding some pace, maybe learning a little bit from what Chris Simard is doing there behind him. And both these guys starting to close in a little bit more on Ray Massey and the rest of the top 3.
Yeah, and Massey has even closed in on Dallas Sullivan quite a bit here, now sitting just over a second behind the 46 car. So again, I might have to walk back something I said earlier with Samard. He might not be able to get back up into a podium position without the aid of a caution. If he can get around Dennis Faircloth, not entirely out of the realm of possibility that he can still catch the two directly in front of him. But the biggest thing is he's just got to try to make quick work of this 83, and to this point has not been able to do so. Just kind of stuck in this same zone, about 2 to 3 car lengths back behind him. And just, I mean, the longer you're there, the more you're burning your tires up to stay with him. And it's going to become that much harder to complete the pass.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, even with all of this, I guess not, yeah, even this time across the stripe, these guys were both a half-tenth to a tenth faster than Braxton DeWeese. So, you know, even battling in some dirty air, 77 putting down great lap times. Dennis Faircloth, your fastest car on the racetrack. So he's obviously learned something. And Braxton DeWeese starting to maybe just struggle a little bit, or maybe he's just conserving, you know, realizing he's got a healthy lead. But Dallas Sullivan is putting in some fantastic lap times. That was about a quarter second faster that last time around.
Yeah, Sullivan is starting to reel in Braxton DeWeese, and it may be kind of like what we touched on earlier, that damage on the 00 may not be bad on a short run when you've got all the grip in the tires. And as the run progresses, it may hurt him just a little bit more. Something we'll keep an eye on. But here's Chris Samard looking to the inside of Dennis Faircloth, finally able to complete the pass. Now, I mean, you documented that Dennis was running some of the fastest laps on the racetrack. Now that Chris Samard is able to get around him, I'll be curious to see just how much pace that 77 car has, if he can get up here and start to put some pressure on Massey or even Dallas Sullivan for those second and third positions. But, you know, for Chris Samard, he's got to be thinking what might have been at this point. He was in position to have the race lead after that round of pit stops. The mishap on the exit of pit lane, I mean, if not for that, we've seen him cut the gap by about 2.5 seconds to the race leader, even with having to battle for positions. You just got to wonder, if he had that clean air and was able to just kind of set a pace here, where would he be at? But still going to be a good night for him in the point standings regardless, so as they run right now.
Yeah, you know he's looking for a victory. It's been a little while since he's gone to victory lane, and this was maybe as good an opportunity as any with all the problems that so many drivers have had. But his problem not quite as bad as some of the others. Didn't really damage the car all that much, didn't lose as much time, didn't have a black flag, but anytime the car is not pointed in the right direction on the racetrack under green, it's not going to be good for you. He's still putting down nice laps here. Dallas Sullivan, your fastest car on the track. He's maintained about 2.5 seconds behind Braxton DeWeese. So, again, Braxton having a fantastic night and absolutely maximizing everything he can, looking for his second victory of the season. And he's got to see that tide machine just a little bit bigger than it was at the start of this run. And that margin creeping just down to about 2 seconds. Although Braxton really good off of turn number 2, able to gain some of that time back. About 111 laps led here tonight.
Yeah, dominant performance so far for Braxton DeWeese. And it seems like Sullivan will have a couple of laps where he shaves a few tenths off of that gap. And then it'll kind of stabilize for a few laps where DeWeese maybe matches what he's doing. If you're the race leader at this point, you've got just over 20 laps to go. Of course, you're always keeping an eye on your relative, what that gap is to the car behind you. And realistically, he can give up about a tenth a second per lap, and he would still be your race winner here at the end of this one. So probably a little bit of conservation going on, minding the gap, just keeping an eye on that. Take a look a little bit further back here. This was the battle for the free pass. James Loveland has now put himself in position for that lucky dog if a caution were to come out. Currently running in the 7th position, even one lap down. Michael Jones previously had it. He is now battling with the 7 of Paul Hahn. Most drivers 1 lap down, but this is a battle for position for the 8th spot here. Hahn looking to the inside, and again, I don't believe that Michael Jones is going to be able to make it to the end. He's currently 65 laps in on this fuel run, and I think about the max that I had heard pre-race was 80 laps. So unless he's doing a massive fuel save right now, it would be really borderline if the 2 car is able to make it without stopping.
Yeah, that is a tall task. He's going to slam the wall there in turn number 2. Just dove it in really deep on turn 1. Did not quite make that corner, and he's got, more issues now potentially late in this race. But this is still a good points night for the number 2 machine, even though he's 1 lap down. Angelo Ronis also right there behind him. 2.5 seconds back in 10th. This is still going to be a good points night because of what happened to the 24, the 17, and the 8, all getting caught up in issues tonight. And so all of these drivers going to be much tighter at the exit of the race. And I'm very fascinated to see how things look going into next week.
It is going to be interesting for sure. These standings, I mean, we talked about it pre-race. 19 points from Adam Cabot to Bailey Turner, and then 22 points back was Seth Hatchell and Braxton DeWeese. Everybody else 25 points back. So even with the issues, Adam Cabot may have had enough of a points lead, depending on how the bonus points play out and everything with laps led, that he may still be the point leader, albeit by the slimmest of margins. But, definitely not what you want to do the first race of the chase and kind of burn through all of those insurance points that you accumulated by way of the wins and the point standing in the regular season. So it's definitely going to tighten things up.
Yeah, definitely.
As we head into the end of the season.
Definitely puts more pressure on the 17 and the 24 than they would have had, if they had a good solid run here tonight, right? They would have had that gap to rely on maybe later in the chase. But the benefit of it happening early on is you have time left in the season to have great runs and, continue to build that back up. But speaking of margins, Dallas Sullivan now under 1.5 seconds behind Braxton DeWeese. This is getting tighter and tighter as this run goes on. And again, at the stripe there, about 1/10.5 for Dallas Sullivan over the 00 of Braxton DeWeese. So he is closing that distance. Chris Simard also closing the gap just a few car lengths behind Ray Massey. This will be for 3rd. So good recovery for Chris to try and get a podium finish. And unless something happens with the top 2, looks like that he is not going to be able to get back up to the race lead. But still a valiant effort here on this last run. But Braxton DeWeese got to feel that pressure ramping up.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like he kind of answered the call a little bit that last lap. Dallas Sullivan and Braxton DeWeese just about even on lap time. Still a slight edge to the 46 machine. And then this time around, DeWeese actually about 1/10 faster than Dallas Sullivan. So it could be a little bit of just managing. It could be a little bit of maybe the 00 is starting to struggle just a bit with damage or tires. You mentioned that Sullivan does have 7 lap fresher tires than the 00. But the biggest thing is, if you're Dallas Sullivan, you want to get up there where you're close enough to at least make him think about it. If he can start seeing you in his mirror, and maybe you can get him to overdrive the exit of one of these turns, get him to make a mistake, and you can be there to capitalize. But the last couple of laps now has been about even between these 2 drivers. Taking a look at the line, I mean, a 23.857 to a 23.866. You can't get a whole lot closer than that on the stopwatch between these 2, but something we'll keep an eye on. But battle for 3rd is on side by side between Chris Simard and Ray Massey. This is the opportunity that Simard has needed to try to get back up onto that podium. Looking to the inside, Massey going to have the momentum on corner exit. Simard not quite able to clear yet. Going to try it again down here at 1 and 2. He may have to try to pull a slider, but not quite clear. Massey using that momentum up top to try to play some defense.
Yeah, And Michael Jones right there behind him. He's got brand new Goodyear Eagles on that number 2 machine, so he's going to be looking to try and maximize lap time as Ray Massey goes really wide on exit, but Samard gave him tons of space, about 3 car widths between them, as the two of Michael Jones trying to find some way around this battle. He is 4 laps down, no real chance to gain another position back unless he can catch Rob Liedl 8 seconds up the road. So putting pressure on these two battling for podium position, now closing in on 5 laps to go. And Samard with a big run off 4 there, gets right to the back bumper again and goes way up the hill, trying to find some speed on that wide diamond. And here he is off turn 2 again, trying to mount a charge.
Yeah, he is still giving it everything he can to try to get up around this 23. This is really reminiscent to what we saw with his battle with Dennis Faircloth. That just once he got here, it seemed like that damage was kind of rearing up on him, but a little bit of a bobble there by the 23 of Massey on the exit of 4. This may be the opportunity Samard needs. We'll see if he can get the run on exit. He is able to clear, so put Chris Samard back up into a podium position, able to get around the 23 of Ray Massey. And unless we do have a caution here within these last 5 laps, that is going to be about as far up the running order as Chris Samard will be able to get. It's up here at the front of the field, the 00, Braxton DeWeese. He has certainly stabilized that lead. He's been running about a 1/10 faster per lap over the last few laps than Dallas Sullivan last time around, as he did have to navigate a little bit of lap traffic there. Just about a 1/10 of a second faster was Dallas Sullivan. But at this point, as they come to 3 to go, just needs to put together 3 clean ones, and Braxton DeWeese will be kicking off this chase in style. What better way than getting a win here at the Monster Mile?
Yeah, this is a big momentum builder. You know, he had a really great regular season, finishing in the top 4 there in points with a race win. That first win, really high stress, you know, with Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, and others battling you in the closing moments at Atlanta, old Atlanta. This one here, a little bit lower stress, much more dominant when you look at the, you know, the scoreboard or the record books, I guess, in terms of his laps led. But if things had gone a little bit differently here tonight, you never know how it would have shaken out. But he has taken full advantage of his opportunities, and he's going to get the white flag from the lead here at Dover.
Just 1 mile away from his 2nd win of the season, the 00 of Braxton DeWeese exits turn number 2. No pressure from 2nd place Dallas Sullivan. He's actually stretched that gap to a little over 2 seconds. No lap cars really up ahead the challenge. Final time through turns 3 and 4, the 00 Braxton DeWeese is going to be your race winner here in the KHIO 150 at Dover. Dallas Sullivan going to come home in 2nd. Chris Samard rounding out your podium, finishing in 3rd here this evening. But as we talked about, what an absolutely dominant performance out of the 00, even with the damage, even with the bobbles that we saw, leading 135 of 150 laps here this evening. And, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better way to kick this one off for the 00.
Yeah, this is a beautiful sight. If you're a fan of that 00 machine, we know we got fans in chat here cheering him on, and they were giving us updates throughout the race. He's going to be a one happy man, burning it down here at the Monster Mile, and yeah, he's going to close that gap up to those points leaders and be right there in the hunt.
Absolutely. That is going to tighten this battle up as we head into the remaining 7 races. But while Braxton finishes up his victory celebration, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, let you hear from some of our great league sponsors. We will be right back with you to catch a word from our top 3 finishers.
Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology. We specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Welcome back to Dover Motor Speedway here for the KHIO 150. Go ahead and take a look at our full race results to let you know where your favorite driver finished here this evening. Braxton DeWeese in the 00. He will be your big winner for tonight, leading 135 laps. Dallas Sullivan comes home in P2, and Chris Simard rounding out the podium. We'll hear from each of them here in just a moment. Ray Massey comes home in the 4th position. Dennis Faircloth rounding out the top 5 here tonight. Cody Atkins comes home in 6th, last car on the lead lap here this evening. Angelo Ronas, after his issue on pit road, does rebound to finish in the 7th position. Paul Hahn comes home in 8th. James Loveland in the 9th position. And Michael Jones rounding out your top 10.
Finishing 11th here tonight was Rob Liedl. He got passed on the last lap by Michael Jones. That was the difference in 10th and 11th, just 0.2 of a second separating those two. Jake Miller coming home in the 12th position here tonight. Cody Maurer with late problems in this one. He'll finish in 13th. Seth Hatchell started up there second, and kind of issues all throughout the night, culminating in one major one coming onto pit road. Knocked him out of this 67 laps early, finishes 14th. Zach Smith comes home in 15th, and Bailey Turner, Adam Cabot, both knocked out very early in this one as well. A night that we thought the 17 was going to have a shot, like he always does here at Dover. Ends up kind of going the opposite way, and they'll have a lot of work to do to maintain some semblance of a points advantage going into next week. But 17 drivers here tonight at Dover. It was definitely an interesting one for those guys.
It was indeed. So it's your full race results. We'll go ahead and speak with our top 3 finishers. And Adam, I believe you've caught up with 3rd place Chris Simard.
Hey, Chris, this is Adam and Daniel in the booth. You got us?
I do.
Well, Chris, you start 7th here tonight, had fantastic long run speed. You had a shot at the win here tonight, come home with the 3rd place finish. A small mistake there getting off of pit road may have cost you this one here tonight. Just give us a rundown from your perspective and what you could have done differently to maybe have a shot at the victory there tonight.
Well, I am kind of devastated that I did that to myself while leading coming out of pit road, but I guess it is what it is. I hit a bump and it got loose and spun it. I was just really happy with the speed that I had tonight, though. So I'm just happy for my finish. I really wanted to win tonight. I kind of benefited from Adam and Seth and Bailey kind of having trouble tonight. So, but I wish I didn't screw up coming out of pit road, but all in all, it was a great race. So
Yeah, and you were far from the only one to have pit road problems. I think about 6 or 7 or more drivers had problems getting on the pit road under the green flag cycle and getting off as well. So definitely didn't affect you quite as badly as some of the other drivers, but yeah, not didn't help you out here tonight. But still fantastic speed, and you were doing something not a lot of drivers were doing, going almost all the way up to the wall, a really wide diamond. What were you finding up there that was allowing the car to find the grip and the speed here tonight?
going on the edge of that, all the rubber that got laid down, and it was a lot faster for me, anyways. Getting in, I drive it in a little harder, let it push up, and then drive off on the bottom, and that got me a ton of speed. I don't know why it did, but um, I don't know. I think it's because not a lot of people are running up there too much, anyways. I was the only one that found some speed up there, and I just um, it's a lot of fun when you can widen the track out and find speed after the rubber gets laid down. It's the way it's supposed to be. It's a lot of fun doing it. So.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing that as much here. It's been a long time since you've been able since anyone's really been able to run up on the top. So good to see that was an option that you were taking advantage of, and showing the speed that you did have here tonight. Obviously, a really good result for you, and it'll close the gap in the points and get you much closer to the front of the standings. How does that make you feel going forward here in this chase?
That makes me feel great because I know Adam had a pretty decent points lead and had trouble. So puts me back in it at least a little bit. I don't know about the other races, but I'm excited for the rest of the season here. So we'll see. I've been doing a little bit better lately. I've been crashing a lot, but running closer to the front. So we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah, I mean, you had probably the best long run speed of anyone here tonight. And that showed, especially in the middle part of this race where you went out there, took the lead, and started driving away. But third place will be the result here at Dover. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for your run tonight?
Just everyone on VSPEED, my teammates. They helped me out a lot with running and running the line and everything. And all you guys up in the booth. I say it every time, but I love going back watching the races, and you guys do an awesome job. And my wife and son, and all the sponsors. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting a lot of them, but all the sponsors that make this league the way it is. And also, I just like to congratulate Dallas. He finished second. That's an awesome run for him. So.
Awesome, Chris. Well, thanks for taking time here, and great to see you have a fantastic race here tonight. 77 machine started 7th, leads 7 laps, and comes home here on the podium. We'll see you next week in race number 2 of the chase.
All right, fellas. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. That is your third place finisher. We'll now go to second, and that is Dallas Sullivan. And I believe you're standing by with the 46 machine, Daniel.
I am indeed. Dallas Sullivan. This is Adam and Daniel up in the VSPEED booth. You got us?
What's up, guys?
Well, what's going on, buddy? I mean, you had a great run tonight, came home in P2. You led a couple of laps there during the pit cycle. And, I mean, at one point, I thought you were going to get up there and steal you one here tonight. You were closing that gap down. You cut it down pretty substantially throughout that final run. What do you feel like you needed to be able to get up there and try to take that win away from the 00?
Man, I just needed to be a little bit cooler because I saw that gap at the start of the run. I knew I had fresher tires. I knew I had a couple laps on him in terms of tires. But I panicked a little bit, and I kind of burned him up a little too early. And I kind of felt like I lost that tire advantage. I think I got it down to, I don't know, about a second and a half there at one point, and that was about the time it was that's all she had, and a little bummed about it because I do feel like that was an opportunity for me, and those, as y'all know, do not come around very often for me. And but it's kind of weird feeling a little bummed about a P2. So it can't be that bad, right?
Hey, you definitely gave us a good storyline there. You had great pace in the car, cutting the lead down as far as you did. And you know, you were, I think you were, if not the last one to hit pit lane, you were the next to last one to hit pit lane on that cycle. Was that something that was kind of predetermined that you wanted to run it a little bit longer, or were you just saying, well, let me try something a little bit
Uh,
different and see if we can get some luck to fall our way here?
yeah, I mean, I just kind of had in my mind to make it to lap, I think it was 85 is when I pitted, and crew chief gave me a little bit of warning about my tires. I was like, all right, well, that's fine. That means that they'll be good to run that last, because I think I split it in half, maybe give or take a couple laps. So I just felt like splitting that last run in half was going to be the move, and everybody started pitting a little bit earlier, but and then I saw a bunch of people having issues as well. So I was thinking, well, let's just give it a lap or two and see if we get a caution or something like that. And I knew I was going to be losing time on track by doing that, but I also had pretty good speed at the end of that run. I was catching the leaders, so I just stayed the course. And I saw, I guess when I pitted, somebody was, I think Angelo was stuck on pit road, and then I saw Seth had an issue, and then I came out and I was battling Dennis for third, and I was like, oh, or maybe I was battling him for second, and I was like, well, that kind of worked out, and doesn't happen to me very often, so I took what I could get there.
Hey, and I got to ask real quick, when you said the crew chief was giving you a warning about tires, are you talking about the iRacing crew chief, or was that Valentino saying to keep an eye on your tires?
Man, I had the cat looking at me like he was just wondering what the heck I was doing. So it was definitely the real crew chief and not the fuzzy one.
Well, congrats again, buddy, on the P2. Great way to kick off the chase here. And before we let you go, who you want to thank or shout out for this one?
Man, I got a lot of people to shout out. First of all, mom and dad back home. I know they're watching, so this is hope y'all enjoyed that. I got to shout out Cody, you know, our fearless admin of this league, keeping it going and organizing this. I just appreciate his efforts, and I appreciate y'all, Daniel, Adam, both y'all up there every weekend, even when our car counts might not be what they were at one point in the past. Just appreciate y'all broadcasting this for anybody that wants to watch, and everybody that shows up in this league. It's just such a great way to spend a Tuesday night. We've got a great group of guys that run this, and it's just something I look forward to each and every week.
Well, congrats again on the P2. Really solid run, man. It's got to set you up good for the rest of the chase. So best of luck next week at Iowa, and maybe we'll be talking to you again over there.
Hey, that'd be crazy. And again, thanks, y'all. I appreciate it, and have a good night.
Yep, you too, Dallas. We have it from second place finisher Dallas Sullivan. And Adam, I believe you've caught up with the man of the hour, Braxton DeWeese, the race winner.
Yep, we're standing here in victory lane, Braxton. Your second win of the season, and it came in a much different fashion than the first one here. You had great pace all night long, but just walk us through what was going through your mind. You lost the lead, pit cycle happened, and then you had a huge advantage. And just run us through, how you were feeling at that point.
Yeah, after I killed my tires there, I was like, man, we really have to make something happen. And I felt like we were able to hit our marks, in a time where a lot of the guys around us weren't hitting their marks. So, that was very important. In real life, I can remember a lot of mistakes happening in the first race, the playoffs and stuff. It kind of reminded me of tonight. There's a lot of guys that are up front. We have the cars that are around me, points heading into this race, finished in the 3 of the 4 last spots there. So, in a time that we needed to shine and do what we needed to do, we definitely did it. So, we just need to make sure we're on top of it for all these races if we want to have a chance for the championship. Heading into this race, we were about 22 points back, and now we're 3 points back from Adam. So that's huge. And there's some races that I really look forward to going to. So, just had to make sure we kept the clean air. I felt like that was a big deal, not just in general for these cars, but especially here at Dover. Concrete tracks, which we don't really go to much, but be really line sensitive, and clean air can definitely mean a lot. So I was happy we were able to hit our marks to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, and you had really good pace, especially early to mid run. In the long run, you said you struggled a bit there, and it looked at the end like the 46 at Dallas Sullivan was closing in. The gap got down to about a second and a half, maybe even less than that. And you ended up stretching it back out over 2 seconds by the end of it here tonight to take the victory. Lead 135 laps. We go to Iowa next week for race number 2. How do you feel going out there?
I really like Iowa. I feel like I done pretty well there in the past with a bunch of other leagues and a bunch of different cars. So it's all about just preparing. Every setup is going to be different heading into it. I feel like the conditions are definitely a big deal as well. So no matter what you've done in the past, you definitely got to be on top of it. Granted, it's definitely good to have them finishes, and you've definitely been able to learn something. But there's always something to be learned. So we'll definitely try to do that to where we're in the same spot like we were tonight, if not at least close to it, to where we can at least be in the same position at the end of it. So that'll definitely be the goal.
Yeah, and you've gotten off to a great start here with the victory. Look to see if you can get a couple more here before the end of the season. It has been a great one for you so far. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for tonight's win?
Yeah, most definitely a big shout out to Interstate Ford. All over the car, they've definitely been a huge help for my racing career and now for my real life racing career. So really looking forward to the continued partnership with Interstate Ford, as well as Paul Nichols over there. He's definitely a big help. Also a big shout out to 3 Dips Ice Cream Shop, Steak Time, DeWeese Renovations, Superior Sim Racing. You can use the code BDR5 for 5% off in the code, or 5% off for in your checkout. You can use that. There's like a code box. You can put that in there, and they got some pretty cool button boxes. My button box is actually kind of falling apart a little bit, so I'm looking to getting one of them. But big shout out to Elevated TV, Ghost Train with Nickel Band, Evan Pieta Designs, Our Pizza House in Winchester, Indiana, for helping serve some pizza at Winchester Speedway, as well as Beaver Contracting in the Anderson area for sponsoring the Legends and the Roadsters at Anderson Speedway. Looking forward to hopefully racing there this weekend if the rain holds off, but either way, we'll hopefully have a shot this year. So appreciate everybody who tunes in to my live stream. I have that going on, try to do what I can with that, as well as video in my racing Braxton D race. And so I haven't been able to stream much, but the couple races that I've streamed, I've been able to stream both the wins, so that's pretty cool. And I appreciate you guys for always putting on broadcast. VSPEED is definitely one of the better ones out there, and I know when I tell my dad that it's VSPEED, he definitely looks forward to it. So y'all do a pretty good job, and I'm looking forward to going back and watching it.
Awesome, Braxton. Well, congrats on another win here this season. Great drive here at the Monster Mile. Go celebrate, and we'll catch you at Iowa next week.
I appreciate Adam and Danny. We'll hopefully see you in the same spot next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks again. That is your race winner here tonight, Braxton DeWeese, a 2-time winner in BTDY here in Season 6, and came in a very different fashion than win number 1, and definitely a little less stressful, I am sure. But great one here tonight, Daniel, and can't wait to go to Iowa, one of my favorite tracks, next week.
Yeah, it is going to be an interesting one next week. We talked about how this one ended up playing out here at Dover tonight. And I mean, a lot of twists and turns that we didn't necessarily see coming down the pike in this one. Head to Iowa next week, and then we head to Watkins Glen the week after that, starting off with 3 straight races here in the chase with this high horsepower, low downforce package. And then off to Kansas, wild card race at Talladega, back to a short track at Bristol before we head to Auto Club and Homestead to round out the season here in BTDY. It is going to be a good one. Iowa next week is going to be another great race, and we'll bring you every lap of the action live right here on VSPEED, same time, same place, next Tuesday night. That is going to do it for our coverage here this evening. So on behalf of all the admins here at BTDY, for everybody at VSPEED, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, and of course my colleague up here in the booth, Adam Baker. Also thank you to Dougie Beard for those camera angles as always. My name's Daniel Cunningham. Join us again next week as we head out to Corn Country. We're going out to Iowa for a little more short track racing for race number 2 of the chase here in the FloridaSkinDoctor.com BTDY Racing Series. Good night, everyone.